Greetings to all and sundry, Chancer North Wales here. Time for another Chancer's View. Today I'm going to be discussing about recent projects, current projects and future projects. I'll be discussing about Telford, and we'll show a map of the event and where YouTubers, modern YouTubers can meet up and at what time. I will also be doing 5 shout-outs along and providing all the information for the channels as well. Slightly different format in that I will be attempting to format the video so that I am talking over a series of slides for the shout-out section and for the Telford section. Well, that's the goal anyway. So, on with the recent projects. Firstly, I want to say massive thank you to everybody who commented, liked, viewed the 2 recent builds, the A319 MRP and the MiG-21 Cancer Awareness build. On the latter, all credit there to Roadhog 0822 for running that group build, and it's quite amazing to see how it's continued going even after the end of it. And a particular mention to Martin, Full Moon Drummer, for his brilliant work on the F117 Nighthawk. A beautifully executed subject, riven with meaning, very nicely presented. I really loved that, what he did there. So all credit to Roadhog and to Martin for the work they've done there. On with the other things what I'm currently working on. Well, I mentioned a while back, encouraging people as part of a community build, that each year of the First World War people should have do one project, 2 or more if they want to mark the First World War. And it's time for me to get on with my project on this theme, having suggested it. This isn't what classifies a formal group build, and I think this is really a phrase that was coined by Aaron Newlands, a community build. Something for you guys to think about, something for you guys to be aware of. So my project for 1914 is these guys, the German Hussars. It's just going to be a small diorama. They are 1/72 scale figures. I'm only going to use 5 of them. As you can see here, quite small, dinky little guys. 5 of them on a small diorama base. Main reason being is that the miniatures are a mixture of charging and just generally, advancing casual pace. So I'm just going to do a small troop of them on a road somewhere in France in 1914. My choice of Hussars was that those would be figures, troops appropriate to 1914. I didn't want to do a Fokker DR1 as that didn't really emerge until 1915. So, not DR1, a Fokker Eindecker. As it didn't really emerge until 1915. So it's making sure that what the subjects I do for this series of builds between this year and 2018 are appropriate to that particular year of the war. I was going to add some of the Airfix infantry with them, but as in these guys, but I think the proportionality and style of these figures, they just don't seem to sit right alongside the Strelitsar figures there. The sculpting is too different, the style of the figures is too different, and when a seated cavalryman, in terms of looking, the height of the seated figures is about the same height as a walking figure, it just doesn't seem right. They might both be 1/72 officially, 1/76 the figures don't match up sufficiently well for me to feel that I can use both sets. If I had some other Strelitz figures that were appropriate to that with the Piccolova helmets, then fair dues. But I think it's just going to come down as a German cavalry troop, and that's what I will be doing for my 1914 build. Hopefully it'll be a project I'll finish, well, I'll be aiming to have it fully completed by the 11th of November, so really plunging into it this weekend and this coming week. So after that, and I did delay this one, and this was a project I was starting to work on before I decided to do the cancer awareness build. Another MiG, the MiG-23, as I built the MiG-27 a couple of years ago now, I think, or last year, a couple of years ago. It's another one I want to add to the Russian shelf. And to be honest with you, my comfort zone in modelling is, let's face it, Russian and British jets and helicopters. And I think certainly once the cavalrymen are done, I'm probably going to plunge into a run or a series of Russian and possibly some British aircraft. I think the one I really want to build before the year is up is the new Airfix Supermarine Swift, as that does look like an absolutely gorgeous kit. But I'm waiting for it to become available in Chester Model Centre. I don't want to buy it from anywhere else, as in my principle of support your local model store. So that's where we are with projects. That's where we are with what's potentially coming up. The next part of this vid is going to be a quick discussion about IPMS Telford is coming up this weekend, 8th and 9th of November. Okay, Scale Model World at Telford, the international centre there. Claimed as being the world's greatest model shows. Well, it is a pretty big one. Now, what I'm suggesting is, if you take a look at this, the diagram here, the layout of the hall, you'll see it's the three halls, exhibition area, competition area, eating areas, and all the rest of it. I would like to suggest that if you are part of the YouTube modelers community and you're attending the event and going to be there on the Saturday, that a good time and place to meet up might be by the World War I display in hall number 1, as indicated here at midday. I'll be aiming to get at the event. Well, I'll be aiming to get into Telford by 8-9 o'clock, then queuing up so I can be, as I'm not an IPMS member, to be queuing up and getting in as close to 10 o'clock as I possibly can. Well, that's the theory anyway. So you can see here the event layout looks very similar to last year, except where they have the people coming in, they've moved that across. Be working that out for whatever reason. What personally I'm going to be on the lookout for is, I've set myself a budget, and I will be basically trying to get some of the rarer Russian aircraft that I can't, generally speaking, find elsewhere, unless I go through mail order, but I tend not to do that. So I'll be looking out for certain things. In my case, a MIL MI1 Hare, and certainly a MiG Foxbat will be one to be watching out for, and a few other things, possibly a MIL MI17 Hayes. So that and a few other things, and certainly another pot of the Flory Modeler Wash. That's what I'm really going to be coming there. Also take plenty of photos. Not going to go quite as mental as I have done in previous years, because I end up putting together ridiculously long videos, and I think people start getting a bit brain fried looking at them. There's going to certainly be a couple of show vids, I mean in terms of photos collections, as I always do for the event. But once you, but on quite a few occasions I've taken well in excess of 300 photos, and it starts getting a little bit bonkers. So anyway, I'll be, that's where I'll be anyway. So you'll probably find my ugly mug, the hat, and the glasses and all that lot there. I'll be hanging around by the First World War display at noon on the Saturday. Shout outs. As always, if you want to find the channel and to make it easier for you, if you go click on show more, you will find the links to each person's channel I'm mentioning. So the first person I'd like to mention is a young gentleman, goes by the name of Jaimerote, and he's actually a very prolific modeler. He's certainly putting out a wide variety of kits, projects and builds different styles. Recently he posted up a German signaller from a North African campaign. You can see here he's done some Luft 46, as in the Lippich, and he does some armour, aircraft, and he did a very nice rendition of British Commando kayak, which I thought was particularly nicely done, very nicely presented there. So this is certainly a lad who does a wide variety of projects. His videos tend to be in the style of showing the finished project. So check him out. I think he's done some great work, and he's certainly worthy of supporting and encouraging, and hopefully we'll see more of him. I personally have yet to work out whether he's from the US or the UK. He did post a very brief video of the train to Boston, but I've yet to work out whether that was Boston, Massachusetts or Boston, Lincolnshire. Nonetheless, guys, wherever he's from, check Jaimerote. I hope I've pronounced that correctly out. Certainly somebody worth looking at and following and encouraging. The next person we have goes by the name, and I'm really not sure how well I can pronounce this, Temnymnich, T-M-N-N-Y-M-N-I-C-H. I have to say, this guy's skill as a painter and a modeler, and his fondness for Russian subjects, is the reason I'm suggesting him. He does fairly short vids of showing his finished project, but what really stands out is his skill at weathering. In particular, something I think a video very well worth checking out is his MiG-29, an Iraqi abandoned one, and the depth and the level that goes to it with the skill he applied in terms of the rust, in terms of the heavy fading, and the way the whole kit is presented is, I think, certainly an example to many of us who are particularly interested in the aircraft weathering, and his approach and his style to his work is really, in my mind, quite outstanding. And the fact that he does Russian aircraft means he earns 2 thumbs up in my book anyway. But take a look at this chap, subscribe to him, and as always encouraging him as well. Superb work there. Next gentleman I'd like to mention is a chap called Switcher. I believe he's a Canadian gentleman or an American, and sorry, I haven't probably got his country wrong, but Canada or the US. Anyway, older chap, predominantly a ship modeler. He does the Frugal Modeler series on modelling on a budget and more cost-effective approaches to modelling. He also does some very good discussions about techniques, paints, and that side of it. I really like the way he presents his vids. I like the way he discusses it and his style. So many of you are probably already subscribed to him, and if you have an interest in the nautical side, certainly somebody worth looking up and supporting and encouraging. So switcher, great deal to be learned from this chap, and well worth listening to his vids and watching his vids. The next gentleman I want to mention is a young English chap, gentle lad, goes by the name of SwiftFederal, and you won't find many vids on this channel for the simple reason he gave his channel basically a restart. He wasn't happy with his vids, he deleted a lot of them, so his channel is in what we'd classify as a refreshed state. However, his most recent vid, he did a very nice discussion about using flooring models wash. He applied it to Spitfire and described how he went about it. And there was also a video of him at a model show where he won first prize as a junior modeler. So very nice work there. He certainly seems to be a skilled young gentleman. And another person I believe is well worthy, they're all worthy guys, but what I'm trying to say is another guy you should look up, support, encourage, and let's hope we see many more of his vids, and even us all who gets can learn an awful lot more from people like him and the work he's doing. So SwiftFederal, look him up, encourage him, and hopefully we'll see many more vids in the months and the years to come from this young gentleman. The final chap I'm going to bring up, I'm going to mention, is an English gentleman by the name of Leon Bradley. Now this is certainly a new channel. He's currently only got 2 vids up. One he put up a couple of months ago, and now he's doing a series on a 1/72nd scale lightning he's building. I only spotted him when he posted a comment on the lightning build I did earlier this year, and it's great to see that he's posting updates on this one. So doesn't have many subscribers. He does some very nice work as well. I liked what he showed in terms of B17 he'd worked on. He's followed that and his FA18 Hornet. Both are very nice builds, and it's going to be fascinating to see how that lightning comes on. I'm expecting that to be another very nice build. It looks like the chap works in enamels, so you're going to see very clear, crisp, clean paint jobs. And as a newish gentleman to our community, and I think somebody to subscribe to follow, and to see what projects he has lined up for the coming months. So those are my 5 shout outs. Jaimerote, Temnymnich, Switcher, SwiftFederal, and Leon Bradley. Again, please click on show more to find links to their channels. So that's the shout out section. Right, we've had our chats, other bits, so back more to the general waffle. So between now and the end of the vid, this is a bit I haven't planned. Everything else I tend to write notes for and make notes about the shout outs and all that side of it. So this part of the chat is going to be a bit more about what we've been seeing on the community, videos, things that have caught my eye, and just general stuff I've been watching and such like. Now, as many of you might know, I'm very fond, and you can see who in terms of what I'm subscribed to in terms, and that watch a lot of the history vids, and there is some very good stuff out there for you aircraft modelers on things like Documentary Tube and the various other history channels covering a very wide variety of subjects. Even some of the more esoteric ones, when we start getting into many more of the US Army training vids. A good channel for that is a chap that goes by the name of Nuclear Vault, and he has a very wide variety of material. So sometimes, you know, while you're working away, you want to absorb some history or some background. And I personally like the esoteric, the government information films from the past, the propaganda films as well. They all are a window on history that is well worth looking at. As well as I regularly check out the BBC website and look on BBC iPlayer. And last night watched about an excellent documentary about the mosquito raid on the prison at Amiens. One, if you can get onto the BBC website and BBC iPlayer, is certainly worth checking out. And there's probably be the documentary. If you look for it, you'll probably find something on here on YouTube as well. Amongst the builds and projects, there's been some amazing work as always, guys. Just trying to think of things that really stand out. And now is when my mind has suddenly drawn an absolute blank, which is blooming frustrating, because I normally have a few things to think about and mention. Number of channels seems to be springing up, awful lot of new people appearing, and currently I'm subscribed to about 860 separate channels. Not all of them modelling invariably. I keep on saying this in these videos, but what the heck anyway. Projects, techniques and other such stuff. With these figures, my next stage is I'm going to actually have to wash them, because they feel actually quite slick with mold release agent. So I'll give these guys a good wash and try and get some more work in on them today, and start throwing some more time at them tomorrow as well after church and that side of it. On the wargaming front, I must admit it's been a little bit quiet for me there. My main focus has been more on club admin, looking after finances, D-side defenders, focusing on organising various club events. We have our Christmas do coming up and things like that. I've also recently picked up some scenery, and I'm kicking it off because I can't find the sleeve lid, but it's this set of scenics. I do love it when my memory gets so dramatic when I can't remember where things have come from and all the rest of it, but here we go. The Dead Zone scenery set that I picked up from Mantic Games. I'm going to build this one for the club because I've really felt there was a bit of a shortage of 28mm scenery, and if I do build it this year, which would be nice to do because it would make a nice change, there will be a video of it. My impressions of this? Well, if you're from a modelling point of view, if you're a science fiction modeller, it'll certainly have its place. It has personally a very cubist feel to it. In essence, I bought the smaller set because I wasn't going to buy the larger set, even though I'm quite funds we could have done so. Because what is the scenery? I was suddenly faced in looking at this stuff is, what on earth are those buildings for? You know, this is the kind of scenery or buildings that you see when you're playing paintball. In other words, questionable as to their function. So I have recently been looking online as well, and looking at other like laser cut MDF scenery, and the kind of stuff that I personally think looks far better is that where the buildings have a clear purpose and function. You can envisage why they are there and what they are for. I'm not saying that this isn't going to be great on the table. I'm not saying you're not going to have a great game around it. I'm not saying it can't look good. But function has a sense of function, a sense of purpose in my mind. In wargame scenery has to be there. You don't game, fight, whatever over something for no discernible purpose. Buildings have a function, a structure. That's a bit of a rant on that side, but it's going to make a nice change when I do get round to doing them, and I better do, for the club, and some of the airbrushing, washing techniques to apply to that as well, just to improve their longevity. As it is, we've seen a slight drop in the number of our 40k players recently, so the need for it is slightly reduced, but it's still something I believe the club needs and will be being done on that. So that's a little diversion as to another area. In terms of painting dystopian warships, not much. I'm going to be honest with you, I've rather enjoyed the rush on the modelling, to be honest, and I've been getting, after with the Shenhua PS1, I have enjoyed doing the run of builds I have done. It's felt nice to do so. That's why I'm looking forward to doing the MiG-23. Normally I'd be mentioning channels at this time, guys, but right now, absolute brain fart. So before I warble on even more aimlessly, I'm going to bid you all God bless, take care. Hopefully I will see many of you from the UK at Telford this year, so please look out for us, and so God bless, take care, happy modelling, and stay safe. Chancellor, North Wales out.